All right, so welcome to another episode of Japanese Extreme Presents. Today's guest is the biggest we've had so far. We got Dave Haley from Psycroptic. How you
How you
doing
doing?
today?
I'm very well, thanks. I'm very well. How you going?
Yeah, man, doing all right. You got 5 albums with Psycroptic. You got
Yeah,
5 albums with Ruins.
yeah,
2 with Amenta.
yep,
An EP with Blood Duster.
yep.
Plus, you did recordings with a whole bunch of other bands like Pestilence and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you manage to find time?
Well, it's basically my priority in life is playing and creating music. So it's not about finding time. It's just what I do. I'd like to be even more busy with recording and playing and that sort of thing. But unfortunately, some of the real world stuff
Yeah,
does get in the way. But over the years, I've been able to not only find time, but just make time for the stuff that's important for me. So yeah, I feel like I could be busier, and I'd like to be in the studio a lot more and just doing more projects and things like that. So yeah, it's never really been a stress in terms of I never feel overwhelmed with learning material or having to go into the studio or anything like that. It's always an exciting time, very nerve-wracking, and can be stressful, but it's always something that I very, very much look forward to.
awesome, man. That's a really good attitude to have.
Yeah. It's just like anything in life. If you love it, you just do it. Like you just make it happen.
Yeah. Well, you started off the band with your brother,
Yeah.
Joe, and
Yeah.
one of the things I heard that got you into playing the drums is you were in elementary school. Or what's the story here?
Yeah, so I went to a very, very small country high school.
Mm.
So it was actually like a district school. So I think it was 250 kids from kindergarten, which is like
Yeah.
before grade one. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what you call it in Japan or
Yeah.
in the US. So kindergarten right through to grade 10. So
Wow.
not very many kids per class. About 15 to 20 kids in each grade. So it was grade 7. So I was I think it was about 11 or 12, and we had compulsory music class, and the class needed a drummer. So I never really had any ambitions to be a drummer. The music teacher she sat down and played a beat,
Yeah.
and lined everyone up, and whoever could play the beat was the class drummer. And for some reason, I picked it up maybe a little bit quicker than everyone else, or maybe she was just stoked that she got through half the class and someone could do the beat. So by default, I was the drummer. So I never really took it seriously until I was about, probably 15 or 16. That's when I started getting lessons and trying to practice every day. But before that, it was just something I did, a couple of times a week in music class,
And
not really outside of music class. Yeah.
was your brother getting into guitar at the time?
Yes, yeah. He started out a little bit younger than me, but I guess we were kind of around the same time. So when I started taking lessons, that's when he also started taking lessons on guitar. So I think he was getting lessons when he was 10 or 11. And yeah, so he took to playing an instrument earlier on.
You guys come.
Which, so as soon as we had, I had a drum kit and he had a guitar, we were jamming. It was pretty cool.
That's where I was going with the question. Yeah. All right. So
yeah,
you guys come from a big musical family or something like that?
No. There was always a piano in our house, but we never really played it. I know my mum was quite a good pianist, and so was my grandma, but I never heard either of them play, which is very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know when my mum was young, she used to play and, play at weddings and things like that, but she's never played in front of us. So, yeah, it's not really musical per se, but encouraging, If we wanted to do something, it's like, cool, you do it, just do it as best you can.
That's awesome. That's good advice.
Yeah, it was a very encouraging environment. We never, it's like, I guess when I was getting a little older into the more extreme music, my parents were like, we're not really into the music, but just as long as you enjoy it and do it well, then we're happy for it.
Right on. Well, speaking about advice and that, what advice would you give to aspiring drummers?
First and foremost, definitely take lessons. That's a must. Just learning things like technique and just learning about the instrument from someone that's been playing for quite some time. You get advanced a lot quicker, and never lose sight of why you're doing it, and never lose the feeling of fun. As soon as it becomes a chore, then you're gonna have to tweak something because it's always gonna be fun. That's the main thing. Yeah, it can be hard work and it can be very frustrating, but the underlying, the underlying feeling behind playing drums, it should always be something super fun and awesome to do.
That's cool, man. All right. Well, one of the reasons I wanted to get you on this show is because this is the main point of this show is Japanese experiences. Introducing Japan to the world. And you've been to Japan. I honestly don't know how many times you've been here. How many times have you been here?
Touring with Psycroptic. Been twice. But just for holidays, I've been 4 or 5 times. So I think I've been to Japan about 5 or 6 times. I love the place. I like to come back every year or 18 months. I've got a lot of good friends there, and I love the culture. I love the people. I love the nature. It's like nowhere else on earth. So it's somewhere I don't think I'll ever get tired of visiting. And maybe someday spend a little bit more time there, rather than just a week or 2. It'd be nice to spend a few months, just exploring around and really getting to know the culture.
Right.
So I love the place.
Well, I'm listening to what you're saying, and one of the things you just said is I like the people, I like the culture, and I like the nature. A lot of people will say the people and the culture, but you're one of the first people to say the nature.
Yeah. I've been lucky enough to pretty much drive around the majority of Japan through touring and things like that. So getting out of the city, you actually get to see some of the amazing countryside.
Right.
Which, if you go to, say, Tokyo, Osaka, Hiroshima, they're big cities. They're cool big cities, but big cities are everywhere. You got to really get out of the cities to get a bit more of a feel of the country. I think the cities is part of it, but also the country and the nature is part of it too.
That's one of the questions that I have on my list here. Have you been anywhere off the beaten path?
Yes. I'm terrible with names.
That's okay.
I forget things all the time. I really should write things down. But I have quite a few times, we've got a good mutual friend, Luke.
Yeah.
He's one of my close friends. So I do visit him as much as I can, and he's taken me to a bunch of amazing places.
You guys.
Up to the mountain skiing, up to old temples and shrines, and so I've really seen two very distinct sides of Japan.
So, this is a difficult question, and maybe I should have sent you this question beforehand. But what if you had to choose one of your best experiences in Japan?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough one, but what would you say?
I think the best experience was probably going on a bit of a road trip. And when I say road trip, it was actually a train trip. We took one of the lines from Japan right to the end as far as it could go into one of the hills. I had no idea. It was several hours, changing trains, changing lines,
Right.
till we got to a tiny little town, and from there we got picked up by a minivan from, I guess it was the temple that we were staying at. It was, and we had, I'm going to get everything wrong and probably get sand a shitload of people, but whatever.
That's okay, man. That's okay.
We got taken to, it was like a family-run temple / shrine / not sure.
Like an inn kind of thing, huh?
Yeah, it was like a very, very traditional Japanese hotel experience.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing the story a great disservice, but it was one of the most memorable things from being in Japan. It was in the middle of the mountains. It was lush and green. I remember seeing, as we were driving in the van, there was monkeys crossing the road,
Whoa.
shit like that. It's like, it was wild. And then having the traditional Japanese breakfast in the morning, and then you're visiting the temples, and it was pretty wild.
I think that anybody who's been to Japan and for a bit of time can vividly imagine what you're saying. So yeah, right on.
Yeah. Look, it's a perfect picture in my head, but explaining it or putting it on paper, I'm just going to fuck it up and make a mess of it. But,
man, it's all right. So
it was killer.
Now, as a band, okay?
Yeah.
What's it like touring Japan as a band compared to other countries? Is it easier? Is it more difficult? Does the language barrier get in the way?
Not so much the language barrier. Japan, I found, even though the majority of people either don't speak English or are a little bit too shy to speak English, it's set up in such a way that it's pretty easy to get around. I don't know any Japanese at all, and I've never had any problems. I've had to do things like, go to doctors and, dumb shit, checking in at airports, going to hospitals, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. And we were able to do it without speaking the language. So, in terms of that, it's pretty easy.
Right on, man.
It does pose some other challenges, just like any other country. Just little logistic things, like the vans are a lot smaller than anywhere else. So traveling around is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And some of the things, like a lot of the venues will have their own backline, and that's cool in a way, but that's not your preferred gear. And just little things like that. Just minor little things that they're not problems. They're more just inconveniences. So I wouldn't say Japan's any more difficult than touring anywhere else. It's definitely got its pros and it's definitely got its cons. But I'd say the pros outweigh any negative side, especially the fans. They're some of the most dedicated and fanatical sounds like a negative word, but they're just very dedicated and very passionate. That's a better word. Better word than fanatical. They're a very passionate fan base.
Well, that's good to hear. All right, my last question about Japan is, do you have any recommendations for people? You've been to Japan way more than a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you're a certified, experienced Japanese traveler.
Yeah.
So, do you have any recommendations for people who come to Japan? Like, should things they should do or not do, or anything like that?
Um, yeah, well, just something very, very basic. I'd say experience one of the big cities and then experience one of the small towns, just so you get the contrast.
Yeah.
Um, just so even if you got a limited time, it's like, well, a big city in Japan is wild, and a little country town in Japan is wild as well. So if you've got a limited amount of time, just try and do those two things. Um, and in terms of any travel tips, it's like just enjoy the experience and the craziness and the confusion and everything about it. Don't prepare too much because
Right.
it's like going to another planet. It's out there.
Yeah.
In the best possible way. And I think just not preparing is part of the experience.
Yeah. I don't think you really can prepare for your first time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, just go to a big city, go to a country town, get yourself a J rail pass or, one of the rail passes so you can jump on any trains, and then you're set. Then just get lost.
All right, man. Well, hey, is there anything? Do you have any future plans?
Always. In terms of playing music, well, I'm going to do it until I can't. That's what I do. It's not only my job, it's what keeps me excited and enthused about things. And so I'm going to always keep doing it. As long as it's fun, I'm going to keep doing it. And travel, I just like traveling. So whether it's with the band or whether it's going on holiday or whatever. So that's all my plans are,
All right.
Never really, I never want a real job. I'm using inverted commas here. A real job. If I can get by on what I do, that's awesome. That's all I ever want.
Speaking about jobs, I know that you give. I think that you give drum lessons. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's for me. That's not a real job.
No, it's fun
because I just get to hang out and play drums and talk drums to people.
If somebody
and get paid for it.
Yeah, exactly. If somebody wanted to contact you to get drum lessons, like over Skype or anything like that, how could they contact you?
Either through Facebook or any of the Psycroptic channels. I do a lot of the business stuff for the band, so if you email us, no doubt it's going to go to me. But I'm easily findable on social media and things like that, so just drop me a line.
That's what I wanted to point out, man. If somebody wants to contact you for drum lessons, it's possible.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, or if they want to contact me and have a chat, and I've got some free time, I'll have a chat.
Yeah, I gotta say, you are one of the friendliest guys I've met.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, man. Is there anything in particular that you'd like to talk about?
Nothing in particular. No. It's just Japan itself, and if it's since we've been focusing a lot on Japan, I just can't say how much I just love going to the country.
That's awesome.
It's just a killer place. I've got a lot of great friends there, and I've had some awesome times. And I know I'm going to have some amazing times in the future there.